From the Homestead Studios in Santa Clarita, California, this is a Headache Soul production. Welcome to Just the Tip-Sters, America's favorite true crime podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Morgan. With me today is my beautiful and talented co-host, Joshua Bevan.
Good morning.
Okay, good. I was waiting for you to say hello.
Hi.
I didn't want to say hello.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I figured you knew the drill by now.
I do.
Pay attention.
I do.
Okay,
I'm here.
All right, good. You're here. You're queer. Get used to it.
I'm used to it already.
That is the chant you yell as you go down the street with your sign above your head and you're wearing your glitter hot pants. How did this go so awry so early? I don't know either. You started it, I think, before. So I wanted to say some thank yous. One to Tipster Ryan, who is the newest subscriber on the YouTube channel. And I feel like really weird about you people who subscribe on YouTube. You know, God bless you, because I just don't. So cool. I don't get it. It's like, it's the least amount of attention that any of the social media platforms get from me, because it's just the episodes uploaded. It's our logo and the audio, right? And people still subscribe. So, I actually did get something that made me very happy this week or last week, is that I got a notification that Carrie Rawson subscribed on YouTube. Carrie is the daughter of Dennis Rader, the BTK killer. Oh, wow. And I love her. She is a stellar human being and a beautiful writer. And it's like, I'm just so honored.
That's cool.
That she subscribed to the podcast.
Wow. Okay.
I've talked about her. And
multiple times. Yeah,
because I dig her as a human being.
Yeah.
So here's what your wonderful co-host did today, or this week, Joshua. I didn't know until a beautiful tipster named Marcella alerted me that the fun fact is that episode 257 that I thought was the Murder Tizer about Gina Tovar, I uploaded, and it was actually the episode from last week. So good times.
Oh, you double?
Yeah.
It
was 256. And I called it 257, the Gina Tovar story, and then uploaded it. And then was like, no, it was 256, which I didn't even know. And
that was a good episode. I'd listen twice.
Yeah, you would, but that's because you got to talk a lot.
Oh, so that's true.
You just like to hear yourself.
That is true.
While touching yourself, because you're a complete narcissist.
I am.
Yeah, totally. So Marcella, God bless you. You're an amazing girl, and I'm very grateful. And Marcella said she is from the Pacific Northwest and lives in Kentucky. And I'm from Kentucky and live in the Southwest. Nice. So interesting. I like her very much. She has a daughter who's an actress and does some horror films. And right on. Yeah, really interesting. And what a fascinating life she's had. I'll tell you later. But she's a very interesting girl. And it makes you feel good when your listeners are more interesting than you are, you know?
That does sound good. Yeah. That doesn't sound like a high bar, but
she has. Fuck you.
I meant me. Sorry.
It's like, fuck you. I am very accomplished and a lovely human being. So you fuck right off, Joshua.
Melissa, did you know that Manscaped now sells beard products?
I actually was aware.
Yeah, because we've talked about it.
Yeah.
It all starts with the beard hedger. This thing is a juggernaut of fixing faces. First off, the cordless trimmer has a rotary wheel that gives 20 hair lengths, and all with one guard, and so no more messy drawers filled with all those extra guards.
Wow.
So if you would like to get 20% off and free shipping worldwide, you can go to manscaped.com and enter the code JUSTTHETIP.
That's okay. I'm still I'm stuck on the juggernaut. Of the guard. I mean, that seems pretty amazing.
Yeah. It clicks up and down for 20 different lengths.
Oh, okay. Lengths of hair. I get it. I wasn't sure what was happening. Now I get it. And don't forget, I mean, yeah, you want to trim your beard for Valentine's Day, but you want to,
I mean, and keep yourself,
trim the garden,
keep yourself completely groomed. Yeah. Assuming Valentine's Day goes real well.
Yeah. Or Groundhog's Day.
Groundhog's Day.
Maybe that went well too.
That's true.
You don't want to look like a groundhog. So yeah, just your entire body. Yeah. Just scape the whole damn thing.
Keep yourself scaped.
Yeah. Keep yourself scaped. That's our fabulous new tagline. I bet Manscaped loves us. We love you, Manscaped.
Well, thank you, Manscaped.
Speaking of Manscaped, there was a video I think I sent to Joshua, this amazing guy named Andrew Sky on TikTok, about him buying himself new underwear.
Oh, yes.
He's an attorney.
Yeah.
And he's very funny and very verbose.
Yeah.
And he makes great
hilarious
videos. Yeah, he is really funny. And he talked about, I can guarantee you the one thing around Valentine's Day that men keep their loyalty to is their underwear that they've had for numerous decades. Yeah. And I kind of, before I even saw that video, Joshua and I had a conversation about that. And he's like, I like this brand and I have worn it since high school or college or something.
Since at least high school.
Okay.
Same brand.
Right.
Same, not the exact same pairs. Like I have
Good.
I bought myself more many times.
Good.
It's not. I'm not wearing the exact same skivvies as I was
in high school. Okay, I'm very proud of you.
It's the same style.
Okay, good. Yes, and Andrew had this beautiful description. He said, he got some made out of modal, which is that like kind of soft, stretchy.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
You probably like the all cotton.
Yeah, it's cotton.
Yeah. And that's fine. The modal is kind of sleek and smooth and sexy. You should just consider one pair of modal. It's
for Valentine's Day.
No, for yourself.
For special occasions.
No, for yourself. No, for you. For you. Treat yourself to silky, shiny underwear with a ball hammock. And Manscaped has great drawers that I've been told, according to a few people, that it's like angels holding your testicles.
Nice.
Little angel hands.
Holding
your testicles.
Holding up your, okay.
Or the men with white gloves who hold Fabergé eggs. It's like that. So, yeah. Order yourself some Manscaped drawers.
Perfect.
So we have to talk about this. I got to redeem my Christmas present last weekend with Joshua, and it was my gift certificate to Death Becomes Her, the Death Becomes Her tour, part of the Graveline tour. And I think we had the best experience we could.
Hands down.
It was magical. So it was similar to the one I took. So when I first moved here almost 31 years ago now, the first thing I wanted to do was take the Graveline tour and see where all famous people died because I'm a ghoul, right? Yeah. And that was similar, but it was a little more clunky. This was a little smoother, even though our incredible limo driver, Blaze, was having some issues, some like internet issues with her phone. It now has, obviously, it's, in the future, and we have audio to go along with it, and in 30 years different people have died
sure,
in weird ways around the Hollywood area. So it was Joshua and I show up on a Saturday afternoon, and it was a beautiful day, and Blaze, our driver, and this fucking creepy silvery blue Cadillac limo funeral car.
Oh my God.
It was kind of amazing. And we were the only two. And she was so phenomenal. She's British, and she's
so amazing.
An actor, writer, I guess like producer, director. And she's, done a horror film called the Zompocalypse Therapy Sessions?
Yeah.
The Zompocalypse Therapy Sessions. And she said you could get it on Amazon.
I got it. It's on.
Did you?
Yeah. No,
awesome.
Let's watch it at some point.
I can't wait. Yeah. I kind of can't wait. She's
I went
very
right home
funny.
And bought it.
Of course you did, because you're like a super fan. She is an amazing creature, and it's very tongue in cheek. She said, she's like, as you can imagine, it's funny, but she was a terrific tour guide. And it was, the thing I loved the most was just seeing the apartment building that Elizabeth Short lived in, the Black Dahlia. I had not ever seen that, didn't know where it was. It was really interesting, such a big piece of history. And I, poor Joshua, I think he was probably sitting on his hands wanting to smack me, because I was like, and this is where this happened, and then this. And I was like trying not to take over.
Sure. No, and that was the most amazing part, because I guess they're kind of new, so the whole thing wasn't full. It was just the two of us, which I think was the best, because it was a conversation mostly between you and Blaze. And then I would be like, oh, really? Oh, cool. What? Okay.
This happened here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was full on just back and forth between you two.
Yeah.
And you added some stuff, and then she said, oh yeah, and also this. And yeah, it was fun.
Thank
it was
you.
Cool.
I'm glad it wasn't like me like elbowing her out of her driver's seat and trying to take over.
No. And she was so gracious.
She was gracious. Yeah. Because I'm a fucking murder nerd.
No, and it was super fun.
It was really, I'm just thank you again so much. It was a beautiful gift. And it's something everybody should consider is giving people that you care about an experience as opposed to a thing. And that was an amazing experience. And then we went and got ice cream.
It was good ice cream too.
Yeah, it was really good. It's a place that caters to potheads.
Yeah.
It's called Afters.
Yeah.
So Joshua just had like some beautiful flavor, like a mint chocolate chip or something, mint something.
No, well, there was cookies in there too.
Oh, mint. Is it mint Oreo?
Mint with like little mini chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And mine was like a mocha, but then I had Captain Crunch added to it, which is totally stoner ice cream.
It was awesome.
It was a blast. It was such a blast.
The like row of
things you could put on it.
Or toppings.
Fruity Pebbles and mochi balls and
some dude said wrote that list right after
and just so you
up.
know, total. Oh yeah, I think a 30-piece water pipe was involved, and he lit up a lot of times. There's like gummy worms and shit. You can get all sorts of, and it changes, it rotates, it's seasonal.
Oh,
because Fruity Pebbles is seasonal,
right?
Yeah. So I thank you. That was really
thank you. Gift. You're welcome, and thank you very much. It really was so much fun.
It was. It was a great full day. It was a really great day. I really enjoyed it. So this is a update that is uncomfortable, and it happened yesterday, and it also kind of lends itself to the case we're covering today. So I'm going to talk about it. Randy Sellers' stepfather, John Cotton, passed away yesterday suddenly. And for those of you who have not heard about Randy's case or haven't heard the episodes, I talk about Randy's case probably 4 different episodes. Mm-hmm. One interview with a detective, several updates by myself, one interview with Jeremy, who owned property that they thought Randy could have been buried on. But a short synopsis is that a 17-year-old boy in August of 1980 went missing after getting a ride home from police officers, and never heard from, seen from again. And his mom was the most active advocate I've ever seen for something like this. Her other son committed suicide about 10 years later. And now she and her husband were alone for all these years and holding out the banner for Randy. And now her husband passed away suddenly yesterday. And Wanda is a strong woman, but she is getting older and she has had some health issues and she is by herself now. And John was her world and she was his world. And I am angry. And so I texted the detective from Kentucky State Police who has Randy's case, and he is a good man and he is working the case hard. And I can tell you, I know he's worked case hard because he contacted me and asked me questions, which I was like, mister, you're the guy, you have the answers.
Right.
But I think he just wanted some things confirmed, and it was my pleasure to talk to him. And so I texted him on a Saturday and said I shouldn't bother you on the weekend, but John Cotton passed away suddenly yesterday, and I'm going to say their names. Robert Wenner and Jay Seyfried need the shit kicked out of them again. The 2 cops that are left alive, of all the cops that were involved and that knew about it potentially, allegedly, and they're, passed away. And the 2 that picked him up, the one that picked him up at the Kenton County Fair and was supposed to take him home, he's a juvenile. And the person who arrived as backup, because that first officer did not have a cage in the back of his car separating the front and back seat, and said that Randy had gotten belligerent. So the two officers that were closest to the case and directly involved in transporting Randy are still alive, and his stepfather is not. So I will just be bitching about this forever until something happens or somebody talks. The Kentucky State Police detective is an amazing guy and answered me back and is kind. And he said, "What happened?" And I said, "It was sudden. I don't know. Maybe a heart attack or something else catastrophic. I don't have the details. I just know it was very quick." And I said, "Can you imagine being Wanda and your entire family is gone now?"
Yeah, wow.
Including your 2 sons.
Oh my gosh.
And you are alone. And I mean, I know she has family who love her, but that's, she needs to know where her boy is before she leaves this world.
Right.
So, and the detective is on board. And he said, I spoke to Wanda and John a little over a month ago. And I got a picture from a family member of her and her kids and John and Wanda standing in front of the Christmas tree. So it was just, 6 weeks ago. And I just have to talk about that update that John is gone because it's important.
Yeah.
And it does lend itself to the case we're talking about today. And the case we're talking about today is a young man who's missing and presumed dead. And his name was Tom Starkel. And he was from the Antelope Valley here in Southern California. It's the northern part of LA County. And back then, in December of 1979, it was even more of a desert than it is now. Joshua can tell you it's still very deserty.
Yeah, it's open.
It's being built up. But can you imagine, 43 years ago, what it was like?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of desert, I'm sure.
It's very deserty, and there are pockets of suburbia.
Right.
But it's still a lot of open space.
It is. It really is. So I perhaps have gotten information that a lot of people don't have because I have friends in high places. So what I have here, Joshua's smiling.
Because you're you.
No, because I'm very blessed. So what I have is some information, perhaps a Department of Justice file that maybe some people like me shouldn't have. So anyway, what happened was a complaint was filed with the LA County Sheriff's Department. And I have to tell you, the original deputy who handled this case, Russell Uloth, I believe he did a great job. This is not a case where I feel he did not run down every lead and look at every avenue, because at the time in December of 79, and he is handing in this report to his captain of the Homicide Bureau in 1980, he, I think, did a phenomenal job. And there are supplemental reports, which I'm going to read from. And his report, there's really nothing better than his report to tell you the facts of what happened to the case and what we know. This is a citizen complaint against Craig Allen Moore, who is the one and only, I would say, person of interest, but apparently you just say suspect in this instance, in this case. On December 7th of 1979, a missing person report was filed by Shirley Thorne. Shirley is the mother of Tom Starkel's girlfriend.
Okay.
She was concerned about his disappearance because her daughter, Holly, had been going steady with the missing person for approximately 14 months. And this lets you know the time because she says going steady, which might be
right, sure.
the sweetest thing I've ever heard, right? During this time, Tom Starkel had shown his complete attention to her and improved his financial position by holding 2 jobs.
Nice.
The missing person, Tom, and Holly had talked about getting married when she graduated high school.
Okay.
In May or June of 1979, Tom purchased a 1970 Pontiac Firebird.
Nice.
They list the license, and he purchased it from Craig Moore for $600.
Oh, okay.
Craig was his quote unquote friend.
Okay.
I don't think with friends like that you need enemies. You'll find out later. So according to Craig, when he was interviewed on December 14th of 1979, a week or so after Tom was reported missing, a bill of sale was made out by Tom, which the suspect signed. According to Craig, the suspect, an agreement was made at the time of the sale between him and Tom that Craig would buy the car back anytime if Tom paid for any improvements. Like if he decided he didn't want it anymore, like he would be given the right of first refusal.
Oh, okay. Got it.
He sold it to Tom and then it was like, look, if you fix it up and decide you don't want it, I'll buy it back.
Okay.
I think what happened was that Craig regretted selling it.
Sure.
So much so that he made his friend disappear.
Jeez.
No one else was aware of the agreement between Tom and Craig, and he didn't tell anyone, according to his interview. The detective contacted Tom's relatives and friends, and none of them knew about this agreement. They agreed unanimously that Tom would never sell that car. He loved the car. He had put time and money into the vehicle. During an interview with Craig Moore on December 14th, he stated he went to Tom's house that night, the night of his disappearance, to buy the car back. He said he had given Tom $150 in October as a down payment, and that the last part of November in 1979, he found $500 in a phone booth in Palmdale that he was going to use to complete the sale.
He found it?
Mm-hmm. And there's an interesting fact a little later in this report, which will, make you feel even more suspicious than that. He said that he and Tom drove to the Pizza Hut on Palmdale Boulevard. This is after Tom is supposed to have sold the car to the suspect. And according to Craig, the suspect, Tom took his personal belongings out of the vehicle, went to the McDonald's across the street to meet a friend, and then they were going to cruise Van Nuys Boulevard in Van Nuys. This was at approximately 2200 hours on 12/5/79. I don't know what 2200 hours is. That 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock at night. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So after December 5th, Tom has never been heard from. So Detective Uloff wants to point out, with respect to Craig's statement of finding $500 in a phone booth, it should be noted that to this date, which was February of 1980, no one filed a report at the Antelope Valley station where $500 had been left at a phone booth. Yeah.
Okay.
So Detective Uloff, in December of 79, interviews a woman who was an ex-girlfriend of Craig Moore. I don't have to mention her name because I don't want her dragged into this.
Okay.
She said that Craig Moore was obsessed with getting that car back. And in the middle of November of 1979, he told her he had a plan and he thought how he's going to get the car back. He told her he would give Tom $100 or $200 for the car as a down payment, and then have Tom sign over the car to him. He would then ride with Tom somewhere where they worked in the San Fernando Valley. He would then go into the valley and approach a Mexican person and tell them that Tom has $1,000 in cash. Craig Moore told his ex-girlfriend a Mexican would kill for that much money, and then he would have the car free and clear.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
A Mexican person would kill for that much money, and he would have the
Mexican
car.
Person? Wow.
Yeah. Freddie Prinz.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Craig Moore's ex-girlfriend said he had never said anything about finding $500 in a phone booth. Interesting, huh?
Yeah.
And I want to say this now. I was told about this case from Tipster Debbie, and she tagged me in a post on Facebook. And the original poster said, this person has been missing for a very long time. If you have any connections with the LA County Sheriff's Department, please let them know this case needs to be looked at. And I'll be darned if I didn't say something to one of my superheroes and boom, it's being looked at again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
And I will have the information on who you can contact if by chance you were still around, from the late 70s, early 80s in Palmdale or Lancaster.
Right.
I will also let you know that the suspect, Craig Moore, died in 2010 of natural causes at the age of 54. It's listed as natural causes.
Okay.
I'm hoping, anyway, no, I'm going to shut up about that. Okay, still suspect.
Right.
Okay. December 20th of 1979, Detective Uloff and Deputy Smith of the Homicide Bureau contacted Craig Moore at Poor Joe's Bar on East Palmdale Boulevard. they had become aware of an outstanding warrant that was issued in the Antelope Valley charging the suspect with violation 476 APC. It was a permissive search of the vehicle which the suspect was driving.
The actual vehicle, okay.
Which was Tom's vehicle.
Right.
After Tom had disappeared.
Right.
During the search, a loaded handgun was discovered in his jacket, Craig Moore's jacket, which had been in the rear seat of the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
The suspect was asked for a bill of sale to prove he had purchased the vehicle. He could not produce that. He was arrested for the warrant and charged with grand theft auto and carrying a loaded gun. The vehicle was then impounded. December 26th, 6 days later, in 1979, Deputy District Attorney Berg of the Antelope Valley Judicial District rejected the grand theft auto charge and filed a lesser charge. It should be noted that the legal ownership of the vehicle was determined to be the suspect because he had sold it to Tom, but it was only registered to him in Nevada.
So the judge said, okay, it is Craig's car still?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's still registered in Nevada to Craig.
Only in Nevada.
Yeah. Okay, so Tom never registered it. Never.
However, the California Department of Motor Vehicles shows that an emergency operating permit was issued to Tom in November of 1979.
Oh.
Ownership was not transferred due to Tom's failure to have a smog certification.
Yeah, okay. So you have to get it smogged.
Right.
In order to register it in California.
Right.
He just hadn't done it yet.
Right.
Okay. But there is an operating permit, so he started the paperwork.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
The grand theft auto filing was rejected due to the lack of a victim because he's still missing. And the latest Nevada DMV information showing the suspect as the owner.
Mm-hmm.
The impounded vehicle was released as soon as the crime lab went over the vehicle and looked and took specimens of stained upholstery, which unfortunately turned out to be negative. Based on Detective Uloth's report, I am certain the suspect is aware of the missing person's whereabouts and is probably responsible for his disappearance and, I believe, for his murder.
Wow.
That was his report. And I know since then there have been some things that have happened along these years. I guess my hope is that even if the samples that were taken, and who knows if they are still preserved or if there's any amount that can be tested, we all know stories about things that get, destroyed or lost. I'm wondering if perhaps now those samples might test differently.
Oh, we have better testing. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. So Craig Moore filed a citizen complaint against Deputy Russell Uloth.
Okay.
A letter was received from Craig Allen Moore by the Internal Investigations Bureau in January of 1980, criticizing Deputy Uloth about an arrest on 12/20 in connection with a missing persons investigation. The arrest was made on an outstanding warrant on a check charge and additional charges of grand theft auto and carrying a concealed weapon. Mm-hmm. In my review of the matter with Deputy Uloth, I have come to the conclusion and share Deputy Uloth's feeling that Craig Moore has murdered Tom Starkel,
wow,
who was reported missing on 12/7 under the above file number. So the captain of the Homicide Bureau is telling the chief of the detective division his theory about the citizen complaint filed by Craig Moore.
Okay.
Interviews with the missing person's relatives, friends, and acquaintances unequivocally indicate that the abrupt and total voluntary cessation of contact with them by Tom Starkel is completely out of character for him. In May or June of 1979, Tom Starkel purchased a 1970 Pontiac from Craig Moore, in which he invested additional time and money improving the condition of the vehicle. Neither Moore nor Starkel ever disclosed to anyone an independent agreement between the two for Starkel to resell the car back to Moore. Craig Moore maintains he purchased the car back from Starkel and paid him a $150 deposit in October and would pay the balance of $500 on the evening of 12/5/79. Craig Moore maintains he found $500 in a phone booth in November. The investigation has failed to corroborate any of these facts, which includes Moore's inability to present a bill of sale or receipt that would show proof of ownership. Craig Moore's statement that he dropped the missing person off at the Pizza Hut in Palmdale at 2200 hours on 12/5/79, the last known activity of Tom Starkel, also cannot be corroborated. According to Craig Moore, he dropped Starkel off because Starkel recognized a friend in the parking lot and that he was going to go cruising in Van Nuys. None of Starkel's friends report that they were with him on that evening. An ex-girlfriend of Craig Moore's related that Moore had an obsession to get the car back from Tom Starkel and told her of a devious plan in which he would get the car back from Starkel and have him subsequently killed. As the result of an intense 15-day investigation, the suspect, Moore, was arrested by Deputy Uloth, assisted by Deputy Smith, on an outstanding warrant out of the Antelope Valley charging a check violation. The grand theft auto charge was subsequently rejected by the district attorney because of insufficient evidence to establish ownership of the vehicle because of the absence of Tom Starkel. Mr. Moore maintains that his car was not returned to him promptly as a result because of his charge, and an impound fee of $115.50 was in place. Also, during that time that his car was impounded, it was stripped of items worth $483. It was probably I was going to say a Journey, but like a Kansas CD or something.
Oh, the 8-track, the Kansas.
Yeah, 8-track,
sure.
that's it, a Kansas 8-track. Yeah. He was sentenced to 2 days in county jail on the check charge and carrying of a concealed weapon. That is still pending. On December 27th, Craig Moore's grandmother was notified to inform the suspect that the vehicle was available. Checking on December 30th, investigators found the car had still not been picked up. Craig Moore was notified to pick the car up, which he did later that day. It's my recommendation that Craig Moore be notified that there was no wrongdoing in the handling of this investigation by Deputy Uloff, and that he should be sent claim forms for any amount he believes he should be reimbursed to the Board of Supervisors. The Homicide Bureau is prepared to draw up a necessary letter to the suspect with your concurrence.
Yeah. Okay. So piss off with your complaint there. Yeah.
Here's what he says was missing: his jacket, a notebook, a flashlight. There's front fender damage that wasn't there, and a Kansas 8-track tape. I'm kidding. I don't know.
That's an expensive flashlight there, bud. $400
it was one of them FBI ones and little teeny ones. Okay, so I was told by someone that this didn't matter, but I think it matters. I was told that it did not matter to the case because Tom is missing, presumed dead, and this is an extraneous piece of information. I felt it matters because it shows who Tom is.
Okay.
At first, it doesn't sound good, but I believe it becomes inherently who he is. You can see his personality.
Okay.
So not quite a year before he goes missing in December of 79, in January of 1979, he and a friend talked a custodian at a McDonald's into letting them in to a storage area where they stole a box of McDonald's game pieces.
Oh.
Remember those Monopoly
Monopoly.
This
is, I'm sure, before the Monopoly one, but yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
No, it was the Monopoly
one. Oh, it was the Monopoly one. Okay.
A box of Monopoly game pieces.
Oh, wow.
The value is $161, and it was still considered grand theft.
How is it? Oh, because they're
gambling
pieces or something? Something about the gambling portion? Sure.
He and his friend were arrested for receiving stolen property. Now, Tom was underage, or maybe he was just 18, because when he went missing, he was 19. So maybe he hadn't turned 19, maybe he was 18, maybe he was an adult. And my hand to God, I believe he did that. He was working 2 jobs because he wanted to support Holly when she got out of high school and they could get married.
Yeah.
And I believe he did that because he thought he could get some easy money.
Yeah.
And he wasn't hurting anyone. I mean, it's a stupid young person's, thing.
Yeah.
And you feel like it's a victimless crime.
And opportunistic.
It's McDonald.
I'm sure he was chatting with the custodian and they figured out, oh, wait, maybe we could get away with this. Sure.
It feels like the mastermind, which I don't have to mention his name, maybe talked him and a friend into doing it. But I'll just tell you, Tom shows up at the Palmdale station with his mom.
Wow.
And says, this is what happened.
Oh, he confessed the whole thing. Yeah. He said, yeah.
And I'm going to tell you where the rest of the pieces are. And he goes with the deputies to the house of the person who's the ringleader. And they find a burn pile where apparently none of the game pieces were winning.
Oh, okay. They opened them all up.
They found a few left, but most of them had been burned. Most of the evidence had been burned. I mean, the fact that he comes with his mom, and says, here's some of the game pieces. His mom said, we're going.
Right.
We're going. And he says, okay, here's where the rest of them are. I think that really went in his favor, especially when they got to, I'm going to call him, it sounds like I'm talking about like El Chapo here, but he's the mastermind.
Sure.
He's probably 20.
Sure.
And, and they go to his house and say, hey, they send Tom, hey, can we have the game pieces back, like as evidence? And he's like, oh no, they've been burned.
Right.
So he goes back with the deputies and they find where he had burned them. I guess they found some, Okay, what's even more kind of sweet to me is that the McDonald's employee suspected Tom and his friend of, hey, these game pieces disappeared. The only person that may have had an opportunity was Tom and his friend. He went to Tom's house and said, hey, what's up?
Oh, okay. And he went directly to him.
And Tom said, I don't have any more of the pieces, but I'll show you where they are. So they go to the suspect's home, the other suspect.
Yeah, okay.
And he's like, no, I opened them all up and none of them were winners. And my fingerprints are on them. They're tiny little game pieces. It would be, they'd be working so long to get little fingerprints off little game pieces. And he's like, so I'm burning them.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And after Tom goes and turns himself in, the other suspect shows up. He turned himself in at the Antelope Valley station with his attorney and surrendered himself. That's because they had, looked at his house the day before. His attorney said, I explained his rights to him and he doesn't wish to waive those rights. He wants to remain silent. And then he was booked. So I think the fact that, I don't want to say Tom was a rat, but Tom's mom knew what was going on, told his mom says, we're going to turn ourselves in, you.
Right. He totally sounds like, they're kids.
Right.
They're maybe 18, but they're still like,
and I'm not,
they're kids. They got caught lifting a candy bar kind of thing, but it's a little more than that. And
McDonald's game pieces
dragged by the ear by the mom.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. I just don't think, according to one detective, Tom didn't deserve the outcome that came of his life. And that's absolutely true.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Absolutely true. I agree with that. So what can we do all these years later? I know that there was DNA taken from family members in 2007, it looks like. His father, his brother, and his sister. And I'd reached out to his brother on social media because his brother seems to be kind of the one holding out,
Okay.
The biggest flag, trying to find Tom, anything about what happened to Tom. And he mentions, like every holiday, he mentions, "We miss you, Tom."
Mm.
And I know his girlfriend, Holly, was really, for decades, working on trying to get some sort of attention. And I couldn't get a hold of Holly either. I had some contact information that turned out to not be,
Okay.
So I did try. I really did want to try to speak to members of his family because I know they want attention on this case.
Right.
And I don't know that this will make any difference or make them feel any better. But I can tell you there is a detective from the Homicide Bureau who's also in the Missing Persons Unit, Detective Tammy Abraham, and she is working on Tom's case.
Okay.
It's been brought back up to her attention, and she is working on his case. So if you or anyone thinks they have information about missing Tom Starkel, please call the LA County Sheriff's Department Homicide Bureau at 323-890-5500, or you can call the 1-800-222-TIPS. That's 1-800-222-8477. I know there's somebody still around who knows. I know there is. Is. There's just people didn't leave that area. I mean, Craig Moore lived in the area the entire time. I know somebody knows. So if you know something, I really hope you'll call the Sheriff's Department. And more cowbell.
If you would like to support this podcast and get early access and other cool murderous swag, go to patreon.com/justthetipsters.